All right, and hello. Welcome to Husky Hardball. I'm your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, the icon, legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best himself, Joe D'Ambrosia. Joe, great to see you.
I know you asked me how I am, but everybody in Connecticut is great this morning. So,
I know. Everyone in Connecticut. I don't know many who have slept. I know a lot of people were celebrating, and it's going to be interesting. I talked to so many people last night who were out of their minds, and we're going to talk more Wednesday.
yes,
But
we have a lot to discuss.
where would you rank that shot in the annals of UConn history for UConn
No, I was just
basketball?
thinking about that before we hooked up, Stevie, because
Yeah,
I thought you would ask that. I got to tell you, I think it's number one.
I
I
was thinking that too with the
I
moment
think it
on the
beats the
line.
Tate George shot. I think it beats the Kemba shot. I think it beats the Jalen Adams shot, just because of everything that was on the line. I mean, it
Yeah,
was for a chance to go to the Final Four, and if Mullins doesn't hit that shot, and again, this is a baseball show, and we'll do some football, I'm sure
yeah,
as well. But if Mullins doesn't hit the shot, then the comeback's for naught.
yeah,
Then
ex-
all we remember is they fell behind by 19 points and couldn't catch up.
yeah,
Um, so
exactly.
that's what makes that shot. And it was Duke. Let's be honest. There's just a feel good uh, moment for UConn
You beat
Nation
Duke.
when they grind Duke. And how about, and I don't like to, and we'll talk about this more on Wednesday too. I don't like to be critical of fellow announcers, but for
Oh,
David,
I was going. They drove me nuts with
no,
how
no,
much.
not the TV guys. No, not the TV
Oh,
guys. Um,
I know you're talking about.
so David Shoemate, who does the Duke radio, Mullins hits the shot and he starts saying how Malachi Smith should get a technical for running on the court. Uh, hey, David, he was in the game at the time.
That's what he said. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
after Mullins hit the shot, he goes, it should be a technical. Malachi Smith ran on the floor. No, he was in the game. I mean, you can't. And my predecessor and my friend Mike Crispino had a great call for UConn. And Ian
Yeah,
Eagle and Bill Raftery and Grant Hill had were amazing on TV. If you get to see the video, and I'm glad they never did this with us back in the day, but they have a camera
yeah.
painted on
They
the
like to
announcers'
film
faces.
the
They like to
reactions.
show the announcers. Raft's reaction, Raft and Grant Hill. Grant Hill, by the way, was the biggest Duke homer on the planet.
I
And
know.
and understandably, look,
Yeah,
understandably,
yeah.
he went there. But you listen to Emeka, you listen to Donnie.
But
They're not
Rebecca Lobo, even
right.
she's
Far from
neutral.
it. Far from it.
Yeah,
But you're right.
very.
Far from being absurd. But if you look at Raft and Grant's reaction, it's priceless.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
priceless.
I
Go
was.
find that.
I
Go
would.
find
I
that.
will.
But
I
that was
will.
everybody's reaction. If you
I will.
weren't yelling "Holy blank"
Yeah.
or blankety blank,
That's what happened.
yeah,
I scared the hell out of my dog and everyone in the house.
yeah.
So yeah, that's
The,
exactly
the
what
only
happened.
person in the state who had a negative reaction might have been the guy from Jordan's Furniture, Elliot from Jordan's Furniture.
Oh, that's great.
If UConn can beat Illinois, that's a pretty big insurance policy
Yes,
to
Chris
have.
D, we're gonna get to baseball. Yes,
Oh,
and
Chris, just relax. Have some
oh,
decaf. Chris, have some decaf.
Chris, Joe and Maria both wanted Connecticut to win against Michigan State.
Yeah,
They
you know
both
what?
wanted it.
Let me just say
So
that. So
don't
I
hold that
make the
against them.
picks. I
We
make
all
the picks
I picked
because
Michigan State too on
I'm
one.
trying to figure what's going to happen. So I picked Michigan State, and I honestly thought Duke was too strong and too big for UConn. And look, for 35 minutes they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it ends up being a 19-point game or a 15-point game, we're not getting. And that's fine. I understand it. I mean, that's people want to. And I've had great times with people on Facebook saying, "Don't pick against." You picked against UConn twice and they won. Don't pick them on Saturday night. And I'll look at the game and figure it out. But please,
Yeah,
the idea. The idea that Maria and I didn't want UConn to win
we all
is
did.
pure
We were
bullshit. is pure bullshit. I don't want to hear
No,
that, Chris.
no.
Go have a vat of decaf.
So our Huskies came back home, and on March 25th, they had a game against Quinnipiac, and I basically blew it off when we first talked, and you reminded me, Quinnipiac's not a bad team, Steve. And
No, they're not. But look, that's a loss. And talking with some people who follow baseball religiously, that might have been the worst home loss since Elliott Ballpark opened. It's the first non-conference loss at Elliott to a team not named Northeastern or Boston College.
oh my God, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was a brutal start to the week.
Yeah, they lost 8-3 to them, and it basically ended UConn, or the victory for the Bobcats ended an 8-game win streak for the Huskies against Quinnipiac, which I thought was crazy.
Right.
The one guy who played well was Cam Rigby, right?
Ricky, yeah.
Rigby, yeah.
2 for 4, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. He had a good week. He had a good week all around, as we'll get into.
The one thing I saw is we were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and that's never gonna help.
No,
you.
that's not. That doesn't work if you're going to give up runs. And in college baseball, 99% of the time, you're going to give up runs. So that was just
exactly.
that was just for maybe just coming back from the left coast, and but there's nobody's going to make any excuses. And give Quinnipiac credit; they pitched and
of course,
and they hit. But that was a bad loss for the Hook seat.
But Austin Trumpor goes 3 2/3, and he was the one who gave up I think it was a 3-run shot to Alex Izare from Quinnipiac in the 3rd inning. And then we ended up using, I think, 6 or 7 pitchers.
Well, that's the thing about midweek baseball is you try to give guys you want to win the game, but you want to give guys work. I mean, Quinnipiac hit a couple of home runs.
Yes.
Rob Gilchrist had a rough time. Finn only pitched a third of an inning.
Yes.
Got an out, threw a wild pitch, and then didn't pitch the rest of the weekend because he really wasn't, because the situation didn't. He's not in the circle of trust for big games right now.
No, not right now.
He's not in Josh's and Jimmy's circle of trust for big games at this point. So look, it was a bad loss, but they bounced back and they won the weekend series against Xavier, which right now, to be honest with you, Steve, is much more important. Is much more important.
Yes, very true.
You flush the Quinnipiac game and then you move from there.
So the first game against Xavier was the 3-1 win, I believe.
Yep.
That was right after, and that was great to see.
A couple of unearned runs and a big hit for Maddox Delana. Which was nice to see.
Yes, because he, as we talked about, he had been struggling, and this was big for them, as we talked about, being their Big East opener. It was Friday, and they won. What was the score? It was a 3-1. Yeah, it was 3-1. Yeah, it was 3-1.
A couple of unearned runs. They didn't knock the cover off the ball.
But the guy that you talked about led the way and pitched very well.
Charlie was great. No, Charlie West was Friday.
West was Friday. Okay.
6 2/3 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and then they got relief from Myers and Shaw had to come in the 9th inning and close it out to get the save. So I think what that tells you, Steve, is Greg Shaw III is going to be.
He's been awesome. Yeah,
closer. Yeah, he's pitched really well. He's pitched really well.
Oh, right. Yeah. Charlie West went 6 2/3. Okay. And he pitched out of he was the one that pitched out of a couple tough jams. They had runners in scoring position, I think, in the 4th inning. Was it the 4th?
No, in the 9th. Yeah, in the 4th inning, he did. And
third
then in
and
the
fourth.
ninth inning, it was Shaw.
It was
I mean,
Shaw, correct.
Shaw came in and struck out the Burdett kid who homered yesterday,
Yeah.
and then got the final out of the game.
And Jackson Marshall got the rally going in the fourth inning when they got their 3 runs. And Chris Palomeni, right?
Yep, Palomini.
Right, yes. Only took 6 weeks. He had a single as well that scored. Marshall scored on a wild pitch, and we
they
had
scored on a wild pitch, an error, and an RBI single. I mean, not exactly.
No,
Not exactly the 75 Cincinnati Reds,
No.
but
no.
If you can scratch across runs and play better defense than the opponent,
Yeah.
then you're going to win.
And when you only score 3 runs and your pitching can hold the team to 1 run, especially right. Xavier in the Big East, that's huge, and that shows that we do have strong pitching. And I liked Paxton Myers came in.
Yeah, Paxton Myers came in for West and pitched pretty well. Got into a little hot water in the ninth, but then Shaw came in to put it out.
Yeah, Shaw, he's had 3 wins. He has pitched, I think, a ton of innings. They always go to him, so it's great to see. And
well, he's the Friday. That's his job. His job is to get the series off to a good start.
Right. So
he's never going to pitch midweek. He's not going to pitch Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, never. No. None of those. None of those.
So that's why
either
they
him
use...
or Suki. Yeah, I found out from listening to Chris Jones and Randy Brochu. It's Suki. It's Karsten Suki. It's like Sukey.
Suki. Okay.
It's Suki. Him and Pudvar for now are the Friday, Saturday. So they never pitch in the midweek.
So they're going to have a set rotation for during the midweek, and then the weekend games will be different.
Yeah, the midweek you'll see a couple of different guys who have already pitched midweek, and then but the weekend, you're probably not even going to see guys like Myers and Shaw in the midweek.
Right.
And that's a place where Finn's got to get himself right, because you want another arm in that bullpen.
Yeah, they had Finn, they had Tallarico. I think that Garrett pitched as well. But I mean, this snapped a 2-game losing streak for us against Big East opponents, and was the first win, which I didn't know, to begin conference play since 2023.
Well, that's not that long a time. People get people can get into some of those. First time since, like I would laugh when I was hearing like, it's UConn's first win against so-and-so, some Big East rival since 2013. Well, they didn't play them for 7 years.
Yeah, exactly.
When they were in the American. That's just, we in the sports media, we can bend.
You can control the
stories in any way. Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is controlling the narrative. But it was a good win and a good way to get the series started.
Yeah. And I was happy to see it. And the other thing was Palomeni. He has now hit safely or reached base in 20 straight games. So
had his hitting streak stopped yesterday, but he's been a real find.
Yeah, he really is. And then the second game they won, I believe it was the shutout, 8-0. Yes.
Yeah, Suki pitched great in that game. Gave up 1 hit.
Yes, that was that clinched the 3-game series for him. It was ridiculously cold that afternoon. And Caden stole the show. He did exactly what you talked about. He went 8 innings, which is what we need. Because you said the starters should be able to go 7 innings. If they can go 7 innings,
100 pitches in 8 innings, that was perfect.
Yeah, he was awesome, and he didn't allow a single hit until the 7th inning, which I thought was amazing.
Well, the other numbers, Stevie, was he only walked 1,
which was huge.
One walk, 10 strikeouts, no free 90s, as Coach Benders likes to call walks.
Yeah, we've had situations where we've given up a lot of walks. Jackson Marshall, solo home run. And with Evan Menzel, I believe.
Menzel had a solo home run, and Wachter, Nader Wachter was 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. They caught the Toronto kid; he was 1 for 4 with 2 RBI.
Yeah, and
all around, really good effort.
It was, and it was the third shutout of the season. And it's the first time UConn has had 3 or more shutouts in a year. They registered 4 during the 2024 season. So they're already off to a good start with the shutouts. And the other guy that pitched that was interesting, and he also pitched midweek, was the Tellerico guy.
Maybe they've seen something and they want to try to work him into the mix,
Yeah.
I mean, you can never have enough pitching. Obviously, we talk about that every week till we're blue in the face. But when you get to the weekend, if you're going to be successful, there's only so many guys who are going to have roles. You've got your 3 starters. Correct. You've got your 3 guys out of the pen, and like Hale and Myers and Shaw.
Right.
And then you have 1 or 2 other guys. Maybe Finn. You hope can work his way in, and then Tallarico, maybe he becomes the midweek starter. Maybe he becomes a depth guy in the weekend.
Yes, which would be very, very important. But it's good to see the hitting coming around. I mean, Jackson Marshall is doing what he's supposed to be doing. Menzel is doing what he's supposed to be doing. Wachter has been on fire since the trip west. He's been playing much better. And
7 for 15 in the 4 games this week. That's pretty good. Riggy was 6 for 17. Marshall was 5 for 14. Rispoli has struggled.
Yeah,
Minnick was only 2 for 14, but Palomini had 5 hits. It's been top heavy. You'd like to see a little more depth in the bottom of the order. Delana had the 1 hit on Friday, and then took a couple of 0 for 2s, and they took him out of the game yesterday. I don't know for the Detweiler kid. I don't know what if Delana hurt himself or Jimmy just figured he wanted to see Detweiler at third base. But you got to get more contributions from 7 through 9.
But I mean, it's good that they won the series, but it's disappointing for their performance on Sunday.
2 errors led to a couple unearned runs, and
crazy.
They were in the game at 4-1 going to the 8th, and then the defense and the relief pitching conspired against them. So yeah, you want to win. You'd like to sweep Big East home series and win 2 out of 3 on the road, but sweeping at home's not always. Not. I mean, the other team, as we've said often, the other team's trying to. Yeah. Yes. You could say the other team gets paid too.
Yes. But I mean, it's good that they won their first home series against a Big East opponent. Xavier was, as you said, one of the better teams in the Big East. The other guy that I thought had played well, and I always say his name wrong, was Cam Rigby, correct?
Riggy, the freshman's been great. He's been great.
Yeah,
he's been great. He's the keeper. And the thing about Riggy is his versatility. You can catch, he can play the outfield. They put him in left field.
How big he is, because I look, he's 6'4", and
he's a big boy.
There's not a lot of 6'4" catchers. I mean, that's
no, exactly. Exactly. That's it.
I
mean, he looks more like an outfielder, but he's a big kid behind the plate, and with Lane apparently out for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen him in forever.
No.
Then you've got Riggy and Torado, and
Torado and Cantle.
Then you're okay behind the plate.
Yeah. I think that makes a big difference because when you have Rispoli, Riggy, Minnick, Marshall, Palomini, that's a great starting lineup.
Yeah, and Wachter in the 6
Menzel,
spot.
Wachter, and then if Delana comes along, right?
Yep, pretty deep.
The one thing I noticed, I obviously they moved Delana a little bit down the lineup. I don't think does he traditionally hit seventh. I thought he
No,
was
at
a
the
little
beginning
bit.
of the year he was batting fourth,
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what
but
I
now
thought.
since he wasn't hitting
Yeah,
after getting benched on the West Coast, and then since he's been, I mean, he's become an 8-9 hitter, which in a
yeah.
way, if he gets hot,
If he gets
is
hot, it's
great
great.
because it
Yeah.
lengthens your lineup. But he's having a rough time of it.
But Oliver Pudvar struggled,
Yeah,
with
didn't pitch well at all.
3 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. Hale came in, 2
Yeah, the other
hits,
thing about Pudvar, to
2 runs.
interrupt you for a second,
Yeah.
78 pitches in three and a
Yes.
third innings.
78 pitches.
I
Yes.
guarantee you that's his big reason because they'd only given up 2 runs, but the
Yeah.
78
The
pitches and
pitch count.
constant traffic on the bases, I guarantee you is the reason that Jimmy and Josh decided to pull the plug.
Yeah. And so they went to Hale after, and he gave up 2 runs. Shaw came in, and he 6 hits, 2 runs, no earned runs though. He obviously was cleaning up the mess. 4 strikeouts, and that was the one bright spot, I guess, for Pudvar. He did have 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, but
And
when you only pitch 3 2/3 innings as
it's not as
started, there's no bright spots.
and Paxton Myers came in at the end. But yeah, that was a tough loss. But overall, it's good to see UConn have a 2-1 record in conference. That's very important. They're
Oh yeah, it's
right
massive.
about to get to 500, 14 and 15 overall, which is great to see. And I thought, the only real big disappointment, in my opinion, was the Quinnipiac loss. I thought that
In
was
theirs
one.
too.
Yeah.
It's a big disappointment in their eyes too.
Yeah,
So,
that was the one they should have gotten that they didn't. And do you think coming back home and playing in this weather, that adjustment for that first game was challenging or not? It shouldn't
maybe,
be.
but it shouldn't be. I mean, they're from the Northeast. Quinnipiac is, and as we always like to say, it's the same for both teams. So,
Yes. Yes, exactly. So it shouldn't make a difference. But looking ahead after Xavier, I believe we have Northeastern,
who's
which
beaten up on UConn the last couple of years. Northeasterns, they're not as great this year, although they're doing pretty well. They're 14 and 12, and the coach Glavin has built an amazing program there. They have been, them in BC, and BC. Look, we got squashed by BC, but BC's having a hell of a year in the ACC. So, but yeah, Northeastern's been pretty tough on UConn in recent years.
Yeah, I mean they've had, it looks like 6 straight losses to Northeastern. What conference? That's what I wanted to know.
CAA, Colonial Athletic Association.
They are in the CAA. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the conference that Albany's in, New Hampshire. Those are
no. Well,
no?
Are they? Yeah. Maybe you're right. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the old
It's like the old Yankee conference.
Yeah, and then the league, and then the league after the Yankee conference.
Yeah, that was the A10.
No, not the A10.
Oh,
A10 is
okay.
a whole separate league. But yeah, but that's that league. UNC Wilmington and people like that in the C Drexel in the CAA.
Okay, I didn't know Drexel was in. Okay.
I don't even know if Drexel has baseball or not, but.
So, I mean, Northeastern is going to be a challenging game, and it's a midweek game. So we're not going to see some of those pitchers that we've talked about.
Well, especially because the week is compacted because nobody ever plays on Easter.
Right.
In the mostly Catholic league. So the game, same with our softball, which as you know, you play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it doesn't, so the weekend is even more truncated. So you have to,
Oh, I see. You're right. They're
yeah. So
playing
you only
Thursday,
play Thursday,
Friday,
Friday,
Saturday.
Saturday. So
So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is a lot to throw in.
well, yeah. I mean, in the conference season, it is. So the baseball, just to go back, yeah, the
Yeah.
CAA is Monmouth, Northeastern, Hofstra, Stony Brook, Towson, Campbell, UNC Wilmington, William and Mary, Charleston, Elon, and North
Oh,
Carolina A&T. So
okay. So New Hampshire's not in the CAA for baseball. Okay.
I don't think New Hampshire has baseball.
Oh, okay. That's why.
Yeah, in fact, I know they don't. In
Because
fact,
I
I know they
know,
don't. So
I just know for football wise, the CAA is one of the toughest conferences for FCS. That's why I
yes,
was curious.
yeah, always
Um,
good.
then we have Creighton coming to town on Thursday. Um, what are your thoughts on them? Because they obviously were the team that stole the show last year from
You
us.
know, let me. Where is it? Because New Hampshire's not listed in the CAA football.
Huh.
Yeah, I wonder where does New Hampshire play now? I mean, I'm sure it's gonna. Are they
Uh,
Northeast Conference?
New Hampshire and Maine used to be in the CAA, but yeah, I'll double check that right now. That's interesting. I did not know that because they were always good. I
Yeah,
know their
it
coach
was
had
always. Remember how tough Bill Bowes was when
yes,
he was
he,
there,
he
and then
recruited me.
he did. He
He
was a great character, man. He would. That's what you
he
got
was,
lighting up your heaters. I think. I think you
and
learned how to light up a heater from Coach Bowes.
he would do it during practice. They told me.
Oh, I know. I know. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Um,
You know what? It says CAA though, but it
it
didn't list
does,
them.
yeah, it does
It
list him
didn't
as in the
list
CAA.
them. Yeah, it didn't list them in the CA in the unless I skipped over it. No, I don't
No,
know.
I'm reading it too. It says that
Oh no,
they're
I
in.
see it. I just missed it. I just missed it. They're in the
Okay,
CAA. That's my bad. So,
okay,
anyways, but so Creighton um
yeah,
didn't have conference games this weekend because with an odd number of teams. So they played Sacramento State and they took two or
okay,
three games this weekend, but they have also had and they have a midweek game against Nebraska, who, as we saw in the opening game against UConn, is
yeah,
really good. But
yeah,
Creighton's always a good program. Three
yes,
games at St. Mary's. They played out in the San Diego tournament. They played three games against Gonzaga, LSU, and Tulane on the road. Three
hmm.
games at Miami. So they've really tested themselves in non-conference play.
So we have lost 3 straight games to them from last year. The one game we did win was early in the season. We beat them 8-7. The games were all pretty tough. We lost 14-2, 7-11, and 4-7-4 in that
And that
last
was in
game.
the that was in the I
That was
believe
that was that
that
would
was
have
in the Big
determined the
East tournament.
conference
That was
winner.
at
Yeah,
Mason, Ohio, in the Big East tournament.
correct.
So right,
And
and they're
that
always
was
good. He's a really good coach.
yes,
He's very well respected. He brings in good talent. They play in a great ballpark. They play in the park where the
yeah,
College World Series
is
is held. Oh, in fact, it's a new coach this year, I think. Yeah,
oh
Mark Kingston is the new head. Yeah, he took over the program
oh
because the other coach retired. Yeah, he had been an associate coach. Um,
wow, okay.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
didn't know
so
that.
he's yeah. So they've changed leadership, but they'll
That's
always be good.
yeah,
It's a good baseball school.
yeah. And recruiting wise, do they even leave the state to get kids, or do they mostly take Nebraska kids? You think?
Well, I don't think you can. I don't think you. No, I think they. But I think they do the Midwest. Yeah, they've got Indiana, Nebraska, South Carolina, Minnesota, Colorado. They get a
Okay.
lot. Kansas, they get a lot from.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, no, they have a great area in the Midwest to recruit
Yeah,
to.
Midwest baseball
So
is very popular. Um, I wanted to ask you, just because this has been a topic of discussion. Gino Oriema brought it up, and I wanted your take on it.
Yes.
He was talking about, obviously, revenue sharing, NIL money, and Title IX. And it was basically ruled that Title IX, the men and women do not have to be paid equitably. They can pay the men more. I think it was Trump that overruled the Biden decision that said that it had to be equitable and it all had to be reported. And Gino basically said, I think the rules of Title IX are going to be out the window because
I think he's right.
The money is going to the revenue sports, football, men's basketball. He's like, there's nobody who is really trying to keep it balanced. There's nobody trying to give women's basketball a ton of money. The money that our women make are from NIL deals that they get themselves. So he was frustrated, and there's currently a lawsuit going on about that, saying that Title IX should apply to the revenue sharing model, where the men get paid, the women should be paid as much as the men, basically, because each athletic department can spend $20 million. Title IX, as far as I know, was created to make sure there was enough sports and scholarships, the same for men and women. Money, I didn't think applied to it. So that's why I think there's kind of a gray area there with the lawsuit and them being successful with it. Can they say that, just because of Title IX, the women have to be paid the same amount as the men? Or do you think it's just going to stay the way it is and the money will go to the revenue sports?
I think money has changed, and we've talked about this all the time because it's such an issue. I think money's changed everything.
It has, and Gino was pissed about
it. And look, you're not going to pay the women's lacrosse team the same amount of money, or the men's swimming and diving team, or whatever, at the school, whatever you pay the football and the basketball programs.
You can't, because they make those programs. They fund those programs. Basically.
Now, should those players make some sort of money? Absolutely. Yes. Are they going to make money through NIL? It's hard. I mean, they might. Now, look, they might do it through autographs or picture sessions and stuff like that. But you're not, I mean, if you watched this weekend in Connecticut, you saw the men's and women's basketball players
everywhere.
The one kid, now this was surprising to me. The one kid you never saw was Alex.
No,
I mean he does.
No.
He's got on the radio games. Monaco Ford, he and Ashlyn Shade represent Monaco Ford, but you saw Demery, you saw Solo Ball all over the place. You never see Reed. You never see Terrace Reed.
No,
right?
No.
And on the women's side, you see Sarah, you see Az, you see Caroline Ducharme.
They did the one with Gino and the whole team at breakfast or whatever.
Yeah, the Marriott Bonvoy spot.
Marriott, yes.
But it's just it's so hard to determine. And look, and this has nothing to do with politics, but we don't need the government getting involved.
I don't think they
get the air traffic controllers back.
Yeah,
get the TSA agents back.
The government
so people aren't spending 3 hours in line.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Fix the Tommy Tuberville's now. The Tommy Tuberville rule about playing in 5 years might not be a bad thing. For a guy who's a crackpot, in my opinion, which doesn't make
he is. No, he is.
No, I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to take crap from political people. I did that on the radio for 3 years and made me crazy. Because I made them crazy. But the bottom line is, I don't think it can ever be equitable. And I agree with Gino. I think Title IX is gonna go by the wayside.
Yeah, that's what Gino was saying. He said, there's just no way to do it. He said that, unfortunately, he thinks in 5 years, sports will start to get cut because of it. There was also a proposal to have a tier system for the revenue sharing. I don't know if that will work or go through, but it would be like, okay, football can spend up to $10 million. Men's basketball can spend $4 million. Women's basketball can spend $2 million. And then they break down the other sports. They try to give every sport money. That was the other alternative proposed. But realistically, the NCAA has said, listen, stop reporting any tampering charges. We don't have the bandwidth or the personnel to monitor the spending or do the investigations. So they're not gonna be all over people. Teams have spent more than they're allotted to. We've seen Rutgers. Rutgers is $78 million in debt, and they're in the Big Ten getting $40 million a year, $50 million a year, which cracks me up. And they just got hammered because they raised student fees and tuition to help pay down the debt. And that's what's angering people, because there's other schools that have the same problem, and their solution to it, and it's upsetting parents. They're like, I didn't send my kid to college and to pay for guys on the football team. And
they're right.
Yeah,
and they're right.
Right. That's what they're doing.
And they're right.
That's why I think it's an arms race. It's just continuing to grow and get bigger. People are upset because obviously the players switch teams year by year, and it's tough to keep up. But the finances, I think, could blow this whole thing up if it continues to grow in the next 5 years.
At some point, Steve, they're not going to have enough money.
They're not. They're going to run
out of money. They're going to run out of money, and then somebody's going to do something illegal, and then and then it's going to be everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket.
And I think that's why we've had incidents even with college athletes in sports betting, getting involved with that just to make extra money.
Exactly, 100% correct, Steve. You hit the nail right on the head as usual.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I was surprised to see Gino. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, Gino also was kind of upset about the whole neutral site thing. People.
Well, not neutral sites. Just have it in 4 different regionals. Have it in 2 sites. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was media available time at 6:30 in the morning. First off, from the writer standpoint,
right,
and the media member standpoint, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But from the coaches and the athletes, especially when UConn played a game on Friday, and then they had to be back at the ass crack of dawn the next day to talk about Notre Dame, who they already knew they were going to play, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's just the whole 4 regional and the new basketballs. I mean, on Wednesday, we have so much to dive in on Wednesday. An hour might not be enough.
Yeah, we have
to make sure the movie star has enough time for us.
That I didn't understand what his issue was about the basketballs. They're different basketballs.
Brand new. But they're brand new. They haven't been used, and the rims are brand new.
Tight.
And you look at very tight. You look at the shooting and stuff. But
is there? This is a question from my father, not myself. Is there a big
Hello, Dad. Hello, Mr. Cully. What was his name again?
Herb.
That's I love that name, Irv Cully.
Herb.
Oh, that's even better. Herb Cully.
Yeah, that's great.
General Herb Cully is going to be his new name.
Yeah, he's Herb Cully, attorney at law. So anyone who sues me, he wanted to know, and he likes watching the women and the men. Is there a big difference between the way the women's tournament is treated and the men's tournament is treated?
Oh, the people running the men's tournament have a clue. The people running the women's tournament doesn't have a clue.
Okay.
Just the way, like, look, here you've got you've got two regional finals tonight, right? One in Sacramento, which is fine, and one in Fort Worth.
Right.
They've got to go right from there to Phoenix because they play Friday night in Phoenix. So it's just
and the final Sunday.
I'm pretty sure UConn stayed out in Fort Worth because it wouldn't have made any sense to fly back home and then go back because one of the videos that trended yesterday was last night after the men's game was the reaction of the women running through the hallways of their hotel in Fort Worth screaming after the men won. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I think it's just the women's tournament has always been run in that. Like here's a small example, and it has to do with me. And I guarantee you that none of the millions listening to this podcast give a rat's ass about this. But the men's Final Four and the men's regionals, the home radio broadcast team, like when I did it, me and Wayne, and now Mike and Wayne and whoever, even the Duke guy calling for a technical shoemate and his guy, everybody's doing it, right? You're front row courtside. You might be down towards the baseline, but you're not on the baseline. You might be foul line extended. For the women's tournament, when Bob Joyce and Deb Fisco cover the women's tournament, they're in like the upper deck press
They
box.
put them up top.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Talik. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It's miserable.
Why is there a reason for that?
Because the women's committee doesn't know what they're doing.
So they put them all up top in the press boxes. Wow. And then it
doesn't affect anybody listening to this podcast.
No, but it makes the game better.
But it's an example. It's an example of how the men's committee knows what it's doing, and the women's committee has no clue what it's doing.
So it is two different committees that.
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dan Gavitt, who I got to know during his time with the Big East, who's just a fabulous human being. He took over for his dad, Dave Gavitt, the legendary Dave Gavitt, also an amazing person.
Yeah.
When Dave retired and then eventually passed away. So Danny's in head of the men's basketball committee. And I have no idea who's in charge of the women's basketball committee, but I will venture all your money, all $79.80 you have in your bank account. That Danny is a better administrator than whoever's running the women's committee.
Yeah. Well, so for this week,
have we heard back from Chris D at all?
No. You told him off. He stopped.
You think we got it? You think he'll be back Wednesday though?
He always comes back. He follows me around everywhere.
He'll be lucky you. He'll be full of vim and vinegar.
What do you think about Creighton? I mean, do you think they can turn things around and get a couple victories against Creighton, or do you see them struggling with a shorter week?
I have to say for both. Creighton's playing Nebraska, who's really good. UConn's playing Northeastern, who's really good, and then Creighton's got to travel on Wednesday to that Omaha to Stores flight isn't direct. Omaha to Chicago to Stores, I would think, or Omaha to Detroit to Stores. No, UConn wants to win 2 out of 3 at least, and take the home series because then they go on the road after that. So
exactly. So this is critical for them. So you think Northeastern obviously will be a challenge.
Yeah, it'll be tough, especially up there midweek.
Probably a loss.
In fact, is tomorrow supposed to be the week's not supposed to be fabulous weather-wise, I don't think.
No.
So I mean that could be a little bit, because we're supposed to get a lot of rain. We're supposed to get a lot of rain here, if you believe the weather people, which is I love the weather people. We have awesome meteorologists in our state, but I don't buy everything they say. Like Wednesday, we got lacrosse. It's supposed to be rain showers. Tuesday so the temperature. Here's how screwy this is. So it's supposed to be 68 today, right?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
already in
warm.
for the day because I got lacrosse and softball to get ready for. So I made my
Right.
grocery run is done. I'm just going to stay. So 70 degrees Tuesday, 71 on
Wow.
Wednesday with a 57% chance of rain. And then Thursday, high temperature of 43.
Wow. That is ridiculous. So it drops down that low.
Yeah,
So
but
that
there's no global warming. Remember that.
no, no, it doesn't exist. No. So Northeastern, probably not.
No,
Creighton,
I wouldn't say probably not. You might
it'll
get a
be
great pitching
competitive.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're not going out there with their aces either, Stevie.
No, no.
They're because they conference
System
play in these a
is
lot of these one bid leagues is
takes precedent.
it takes precedence over the midweek game.
Right. Right.
Now, do you want to
So
beat Northeastern because it'll help your RPI? Yeah, big time.
right. Right. So do you see 4-2 again? I'm sorry,
Four and two, 4-2 is possible. Or if,
4-1,
3-1 is possible.
three and
It's
one. Yeah.
4 games.
Okay.
Three and one is possible. I think you could, I think you could do that if you beat Northeastern and then you take a couple against Creighton. But again, Creighton picked second in the Big
Yeah.
East this
No,
year.
they're good.
Yeah, so it's not, they're not playing the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Right. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a good series against Creighton and have a good game against Northeastern. But
How
yeah,
about our Yankees 3-0?
the Yankees, my God, they came
Still
out
in line.
blazing.
Still in line for 162-0.
Jeez, they came out blazing, man. I mean, they look the best that they have.
So if
In
you're a
a
fan
while.
of a certain genre, you had Duke
Yeah.
losing yesterday,
Yes.
the UConn
Notre
men and
Dame
women
losing.
losing, and Notre Dame losing. That's in the 860 and the 203. That's a pretty good Sunday.
No,
And the Mets, for me, the Mets and Red Sox lost. And the Yankees
yeah,
were idle on a Sunday, which makes no sense whatsoever. But
yes.
anyways, be that as it
And
may.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. Notre Dame and Duke losing, both UConn teams winning, amazing, and the
Yeah.
Yankees absolutely.
Yep.
So it was a great weekend. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about Wednesday. Can't wait
Don't
for
miss it. 10
Wolves.
o'clock. Be there. Be
Yeah,
here, people. And
absolutely.
we want audience,
Christy,
even Christy, even from you,
Christy,
even if it's
Christy can bring
crazy.
it.
We want
Bring it.
audience participation.
All right, I will give the questions. So
And make
four.
sure Herb's got a couple of questions.
Oh God.
It hasn't been a normal show.
I'll limit him to two. I'll limit him to two.
You know what it's kind of like? Have you ever watched and I worked with him a couple times at ESPN. I really like him. Dan Levitard. The
Oh
show
yeah,
that he does with
yeah.
Stu Gatz
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
dad.
Stu
And
Gatz,
his
yeah.
dad. Herb's become like Dan's dad.
Oh my God. Yeah, my dad.
Except I'm sure he doesn't have an accent like
He would never
Levitard.
come on air. Yeah,
That's all
funny,
right.
yeah.
He can
But
be
yeah.
a silent part. He can be a silent partner. Nothing
He
wrong with
always
that.
he always loved, because when I played, he always listened to you in the stands. It was hilarious. He would have the headphones
Smart
on in
man.
the stand and
Smart
watch
man.
the game, but he hated the PA announcer, so he loved listening to you. So he would listen to you and watch the game.
Well, because the PA announcer wasn't going to announce your name.
And
That's
I just thought it was hilarious because he's the only one sitting there with headphones on. And
there were a lot of people in those days.
no, then I found out
there were
a lot of the parents did it.
And it's
yes.
hard now because if you listen on your phone,
it's on
satellite delay makes it hard. But
yeah,
yep.
yeah. I'll
is Herb retired or is he still practicing law?
Yeah, he's still got to take care of his son.
Attaboy, Herb. Attaboy. Herb's how old is Herb? He's probably my age, right?
No, he's older. He's 76.
It's not that much older, dude.
No,
it's only 3 years.
No,
I could be your dad. When they say to you, "Who's your daddy?" you could say Herb or Joe.
Yeah.
You can go both ways.
He's one of your biggest fans. He has, he always watches and he always has questions that he wants me to ask you. It's like, can you ask Joe this? Can you ask Joe that? I'm like,
Never don't ask the questions that we get from her.
Well, great show. Great
Here's
show.
the question: would we rather have questions from Herb or Christine?
All right, good point. I'll take that. I'll give Dad that
we
one.
want them from both. We want them from both.
So yeah, Wednesday will be a great day. Lot to talk about. It's going to be a banner episode, but
it'll be epic
for the UConn Baseball Husky Hardball. Joe D, the icon, legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best. Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, life gives you lemons. Don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back in life.